The first thing I would like to say is I would like to thank myself for receiving and Esther for giving her most precious gift in the cards last night. I read what you said about them. They're your most precious possession. And oh my goodness. So thank you. And thank me. I have a question in 3 parts. The first part is that, are there contracts before we come into this planet that we make with our parents and ancestors and children that are to come? Is that decided beforehand, or is that more of the unfolding?
Well, it is decided in a general sense, but in order to really understand what we're going to say next to you about your timing of birth, your place of birth, your family of birth, we want to remind you about what you already know about the vortex, the vibrational reality, because everything that is always is. In other words, it's not true in the physical and not in the non-physical, or true in the non-physical and not in the physical. And it's not true sometimes and not other times. In other words, there's a consistency in these laws that once you begin to understand them, you can apply across the board. And then it makes it very easy to understand where you are in relationship to everything else. Mm-hmm. So in the same way that you sift through life experience and put into your vortex components, mm-hmm. and then law of attraction manages those components and brings them together and brings to them other cooperative components. So there is a vibrational reality that is created. It was conceived by the seeds of desire that you put there. But it forms into a larger reality that then, given the right vibrational countenance, can manifest into your experience. Mm-hmm. So a similar thing happened in what resulted in the manifestation of that which is you. Scientists refer to the Big Bang. We talk about a lot of little bangs. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about sex. We're talking about the explosion into consciousness or realism, consciousness or realizing. And so, yes, there were all of those intentions that you held. Some of the intentions for what you will realize in incarnations still to come, you are putting into your vortex these days, because you are a continuing consciousness that is in a state of continual and joyful expansion. When you come into this physical experience, you are without resistance. Before you come into this physical experience, you are without resistance. So, given what you know about the vortex, doesn't it make perfect sense to you that you've created a vibrational reality from both your physical life experiences and your non-physical awarenesses, and that then you are in this state of non-resistance, which is what actually equals the precision of the time and place and people into which you are born? We want you to feel the perfection of that. Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you want to say, it should have been different, or it should have been better, or I must have done something very bad in a past life to have deserved this. But it's not like that at all. It's with great reason and deliberateness that you came into this physical body when you did. You all have come for this time of deliberate creation. You knew that this was the time of awakening, or maybe a better way of saying it is the time of reawakening, a time when more than ever before would be conscious about the application of their thought, deliberate about the vibrational countenance of their being, deliberate about accomplishing a state of attraction, living life on purpose. That's what you came to do. You knew that there would be variety, and you saw it as that, and you knew that there would be choices, and you saw them as that. You didn't see the world as broken. You didn't see it as something that needed to be fixed. You didn't see it as something that needed to be changed. You didn't come to figure out the right way and then teach all of those that are going wrong the right way to go. You came for the sheer satisfaction of being who you are, once again living the manifestation of all of the vibration that you had set forth before. In other words, the timing of your birth and the place of your birth and the who you were born to, all of that is a manifestation, much as these manifestations that we're talking about now. All life is perceptual. All life is perceptual. And when you get hold of these basics, when you understand who you really are and what it's all about, so you start to do just a handful of those things on purpose, then the richness of who you are, then the fullness of who you are. Oh, to be in this body and consciously aligned with all that you are, that's what you intended. Not one of you said, I'll go forth and I'll bang around and I'll sort of kind of figure it out, and I'll follow somebody who's strong, and maybe I'll be able to prove my worthiness. Not one of you said anything like that. You said, thank me. You said, this is so good. It's so rich. The potential of happiness and joy is so supreme. And I will focus myself there, and I will add to all that is. Do you know that this combination of beings has never been before unto all of the universe? Do you feel the importance of that? Do you feel the launching? Do you feel the new places that we've gone together? Did you feel the newness exploding within you? That's what it is all meant to feel like for you. The stepping into the new with confidence and security and amazement at the more. Because most who are stepping into more feel insecure as they step, and then they miss the realization of what's amazing. But when you've got that down, then you romp, then you yodel down the canyons. Yeah.
And may I ask Abraham also, when I tune my frequency to you, and
you do that
by allowing your energy to come to me.
Yeah. Do you have to work hard at that?
No, not at all.
So it's just natural.
It's natural. So
because we are the frequency of your source.
Yes.
So when you feel resonance with something that you hear us say, first of all, you have to be in the vicinity before you feel the resonance. And that feeling of resonance is you tuning to the frequency of who you are. Yes. So then there's this perfect blending of who you are. And for that time, you are seeing the world. You are having this experience through the wholeness of your being, seeing it through the eyes of Source.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So my question then is on frequency. So if I on the same frequency as, say, some of the ascended masters or the archangels or the mother energy or the mother earth energy, are they all the same?
Don't make this complicated, because all that is non-physical from your vantage point is resistance free.
Yes.
So when you are in that place of feeling good, you're close enough to the vicinity that if you focus with any reasonable clarity, you will feel the full receiving and realization of that. In more practical terms, that is to say that everyone who has ever lived is still aware of what you are doing. And when you focus in your now in a state of non-resistance, you have access to all of that intelligence, all of that knowingness, but even more, we want you to hear this. It's not just what we know. It's not just the intelligence that we are. It's that which we are still eager about experiencing with you. In other words, when you are a creator, it is the leading edge that rings your bells, you see. We've described ourselves as teachers, yes, because we want you to understand the basics. But we are creators like you see. And so when you allow someone like Abraham or like Jerry or like any of those that you have known and loved, even if you have not known them, if you've known of them, they are still interested in what they were about when they were present in their physical form. And as you focus about something that some of them were about, you have access to that which they are, not access to that which they were, because it's present tense, it's current tense, to that which they are. And then when the inspiration comes to you, you are the receiver of it. You didn't think it up. You are the receiver of it. In other words, we need some new defining of what thought really is. When we call it vibration or energy, it is a more accurate description for you. The way you feel when we use those words is more accurate to what we mean. When we use a word like thought, you misunderstand mostly because you think you're thinking the thought. So we want you to understand that when you think a thought, then the thought begins to think. This is what consciousness is. And so when you tap into those streams of thoughts, to those rivers of knowing, to that stream of well-being, when you allow yourself by creating the atmosphere, by looking for things to feel good, by taking it slow in the beginning of your day, by deliberately resonating with what feels good, by looking for small things that aren't controversial to you that you appreciate, just by appreciating something as simple as your pillow. If you try to appreciate your mate, you'll get all balled up in it because that's loaded with so much diversity usually. But if you focus upon things that are not controversial, so that you find that place and then allow the momentum of that, before you know it, then you can focus upon the things that match that. Then you can see your mate through the eyes of Source. Then you can know your world through the eyes of Source. Then you can feel the invincibility that your Source feels. Then you can feel the adventurous spirit and the momentum that your Source feels. Then you get what we mean when we say we are all in this together, you see. You didn't say, I'll go forth and I'll hang out and I'll let others figure stuff out and then I'll just applaud when they've figured it out. Because it's exciting to you when it's yours. It's your realization that you're here for, you see. It's your personal realization. So what happens is you're putting a lot of realization in your vortex. And when you make your reemergence into non-physical, you will feel the rapture of all of that you have become. We just don't think you should have to croak to know it. We think you should be able to tune yourself here, to feel it here, to enjoy it here while we're enjoying it here with you now, you see.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really good.